Welcome to the Actuated UMI Gripper Assembly Guide. Follow along as we walk through each step for a flawless setup. Let's start by inserting the heat sets. First, make sure your soldering iron is set to around 230 degrees Celsius. This will ensure the heat sets install smoothly. Here's the breakdown. Begin by installing 6 M2 long heat sets into the main body of the gripper. You can spin the heat sets slightly as you insert them to secure a snug fit. Next, insert 4 M3 short heat sets into the side of the main body. These will be used to mount the Dynamixel U2D2 power hub later. Now let's move on to the jaws and drive pulley. As before, insert 5 M2 short heat sets into the jaw rail section and 2 M2 short heat sets into the ends of the jaw. Repeat this for both jaws. Finally, insert 1 M2 short heat set into the drive pulley. With these heat sets in place, we're ready to continue to the next step. Now let's mount the rails and jaws. This step requires careful alignment to keep everything parallel and secure. Start by mounting the rails to the gripper carriage mount. Install 8 M2 by 5 mm flat head screws into both carriages. Be mindful to keep the rails parallel while you tighten each screw. Also, make sure that the carriages do not slide off the rails during this process, as this can cause the balls in the carriages to fall out. Once everything is mounted, you'll notice how smoothly the carriages slide along the rails. This is a good point to ensure they move freely without resistance. Next, attach the rails to the jaws. Do so by inserting 5 M2 screws, less than 10 mm in length, into the heat sets of each jaw. Finally, ensure the jaws are oriented correctly. The gripper carriage mount is not symmetrical, and when placed on the gripper body, you'll see the correct orientation. Make sure to mount the jaws so that the areas designed for Aruco tags are positioned on the top. Once everything is secure and aligned, the rails and jaws are ready to go. Moving on to the motor installation. For this step, we use the Dynamixel XL430W250T motor, which provides precise control for the gripper. Make sure to remove the 4 front screws from the Dynamixel motor before you start, as this will allow you to attach the necessary plastic spacers. Slide the Dynamixel motor into the main structure of the gripper. Use 4 M2 screws from the Dynamixel kit to secure the motor in place. With the motor installed, let's prepare to add the pulley. Next up is installing the drive pulley. Start by threading the flat belt, which is roughly 21 centimeters long, 5 millimeters wide, and 1 millimeter thick, through the pulley. Pull the belt halfway through so that it is centered in the pulley. Then, use an M2 12 millimeter screw to lock the flat belt in place on the pulley. Before securing everything, set the Dynamixel motor angle to 0 degrees. Then, install the pulley with 4 M2 14 millimeter flathead screws, making sure the slot, or rather the belt, is aligned as shown in the video. Now that the belt and pulley are in place, we can fully assemble the gripper mechanism. Let's assemble the gripper mechanism and attach it to the main structure. Start by securing the constant force springs to the ends of the gripper jaws through the mounting holes on the side. Use an M2 5 millimeter flathead screw for each spring. Next, push an M2 20 millimeter flathead screw through the mounting plate and add an M2 washer on top. Then, stretch the constant force spring over the screw and fit the constant force idler over the screw so it sits within the spring. Repeat this process for both jaws. Position the jaw assembly against the main structure. Secure the gripper mechanism to the main body using the two M220 millimeter screws. You may need to wiggle the parts slightly to align them, as the springs exert sideways force on the screws. Install 4 M2 screws less than 10 millimeters in length into the corners of the carriage mounting plate to secure it in place. Finally, thread the flat belt through the end of both jaws. Lock the belt in place using two M2 screws, less than 10 millimeters in length. Trim any excess length of the belt if necessary. With the gripper mechanism in place, it's time to add the power hub. Attach the Dynamixel U2D2 power hub to the side of the main body, using 4M36 millimeter cylinder head screws. Then, connect the Dynamixel motor to the power hub using the JST cable. Once everything is connected, we're almost done. The last step is to finish the final assembly. First, attach the Franca mount to the main body of the gripper. Use 4 M340mm cylindrical head screws for this, and insert 4 M3 nuts into the main body to secure it. Then, mount the fingers with 3 M3 35mm cylindrical head screws and 3 M3 nuts. Repeat this step for both fingers. Your actuated UMI is now fully assembled and ready for usage. Thank you for following along, and we hope it serves you well in all your tasks.